Perfect. And here we go. There. Let's open this up. Hello, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Happy, incredible, amazing Wednesday to each of you. So much love on a very beautiful, cold, and snowy Wednesday here in Washington, D.C. metro area. Wherever you are, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be joyful, and just wherever you are. You're exactly where you are and you're perfect to be. Hello, Emily. Thank you for joining us. Let's see who's going to join us, because this is a very last minute inspiration that Michael and I felt to open the space of life, because we won't have Friday Tea Time Ascension Talk this Friday. So we felt, based on what Todd and Morgan had invited us to watch their live stream last night, and it was so beautiful and so touching on so many levels. And this morning, Michael and I felt, let's just open the live stream up and just share a little bit from our heart, because we are in a sacred divine union bond, and it is of service. And there's so much that was shared between Todd and Morgan last night, which we've had the honor and pleasure 2 weeks ago to be on the show together, the four of us, and really embrace the relationship, being in a sacred divine union, and really sort of like what it entails for each of us, and really speaking to that. And I felt like last night Todd and Morgan really took it to a really beautiful place. Michael, you and I have also facilitated, taught, just based on what we have experienced directly, to help others who are in sacred union. Hello, Rachel. Thank you for joining. Hello, Dimitris. Thank you for joining. So we just felt really inspired to open this space of and really share truthfully and raw, because Michael and I, Michael knows I like being really raw and predicted. Like I told him this morning, I was like, I'm really inspired to share, especially because today is our Wednesday anniversary. Maybe you want to speak to that a little bit.
Yeah,
so we can start this.
It's every Wednesday that we feel honored we can share, because we met on a Wednesday, and we feel honored out of our just many days of service and what we do on a day-to-day basis. We honor that on Wednesdays.
Whoops, 1 second, Michael, 1 second. I'm trying to, sorry, I don't know what happened. Oh my God, how do I take mine off? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, 1 second. Oh, good Lord.
So just to honor as she's going through her, we honor on those days to meditate together. Today we sat in prayer together. And what's very important is to honor the union, to honor each other, and to most importantly honor the divine, the channel between the masculine and sacred feminine, the area that we feel connected together. And it's very important that we do share and we do express, and we allow this in a very, very authentic, true way, because we understand in this collective that everyone that is watching, everyone that is hearing, this is a demonstration. This is an ability for all of us to see what is out there, what we can truly be in the trust, in the value, in the honor of love, and the expression of it. And when we can be in that raw state, when we can share what has been coming through, and to really, what I found last night is really to look at this sacred nature that the old paradigm has not really brought forth in our intention. And I love this morning, honey, when you spoke about, when I was working on your neck and shoulders, of how right now there is this expression and there's this ability to really come out and come from the heart and be free and be safe about it, because we know that a lot of us, many of us, the old paradigm is programmed us. Right. It has conditioned us. It has limited us from us speaking our natural truth. And when we can take the time to speak our natural truth, when we can express without hiding behind what people are going to judge us from, what people are going to say behind, how we're going to be held if we say the wrong word, or if something is expressed in a way that may just not sound kosher, may not sound like in a way that doesn't fit the mold, then what happens? And so last night we felt very inspired, even though it was quite past our bedtime, just to hear the ability of another divine union really come out in their freedom, in their liberation, and most importantly, in their truth. And in this truth, I find that the more we can share, the more you can share. The more you can share, we can open all this up. We can allow this to be in a way that we can push down the doubts, the fears, the energies that limit us, and really raise the vibration that encourages others, that builds confidence in others, that builds strength in others to do the same, because we are all one. We are all going through this journey together. We're all witnessing it and embracing it. So if we can support that on a higher plane within the union, within our love, and most important, within the universe and divine, then this comes out so that we don't have to be so scared of it. We don't have to be in behind the shadows of only speaking it to maybe the people that will embrace it a little more. No, this is the time to really come forward and allow this to break open, because we know right now this is the time. This is the golden age. This is the time to really, really speak what's going through. And what I love about Honey, and she's encouraged me to do this, I love what about Todd and Morgan, is to be raw, is to be real. And really, what I love about Honey is not...
I love how much you love about me. It's wonderful.
What I love about it is what we don't hold back. So
well, the point of this is Rachel is so cute. She's like, I saw sexuality. I had to tune in. And hello, Len. It's nice to see you as well. And of course, hello, Simone. Thank you so much. And hello, everybody else that's here, and Demetrius. And I feel this is really important. It's a very important conversation, because I really appreciate raw state. I appreciate a lot just the truthfulness, and really that space where you recognize what is sacred divine union to you. What is sacred divine union to me? And I just really want to bring that forward, because for us, we are in this union, and we are of service to this union. And there's a lot that is experienced within this union. And again, Todd and Morgan were an inspiration last night. And this is just in response to that inspiration, though we have been sharing quite a bit together regarding so many things that we have been in the last 2 years publicly, some of the challenges we've faced, and we've really been open with it. And I really felt it would be wonderful to bring this topic of the sacred sexuality into this, and just address from where both you and I come from. And I like to just take a step back and go backward a little bit. So for me, Michael, as you already know, and some of the people here may know, those of you who've been following for a while, it was 8 years ago that this vision came, and literally auditory, visually was brought into my field of awareness, that there is this other, at that time I was married, and this other being person is coming into my life. And I kept seeing the same image every time I went to meditation, over and over and over. I saw this image of me with this other person on a stage in front of thousands of people, like a football stadium side. And I was doing something with my hand, and there was this union between me and this person that was so synchronized, and the synchronicity between this field of me and this other person was predominantly, but you probably have to scroll this, Michael. Hello, is that Maxine? Hello. So it was just predominantly of service. And I saw it, and and it was something I'd longed for. And I knew whatever this love, I forever, as we've talked about it since I was little, I was looking for this, because I knew it wasn't just this regular love. It wasn't just this, having a boyfriend or getting married or anything like that. It was something like so much bigger than me and beyond me. And I knew that in which we shared from that space in between, it was of service until I died a couple years after that. And the reason why that took place, because it was just, I couldn't reach that which was being shown to me. And it brought me a lot of sadness and depression till it created an illness, and I eventually died on January 8, 2012. But when I was on the other side, everything was finally revealed to me. And from that place, what in the spirit world, what was shown to me through the Golden Council of 12, the Arcturian elders, and some of you have heard about this, and also beloved Yeshua, that Christ energy, that codes between the crystalline field of the Magdalene Yeshua was so embedded in my consciousness, and the truth of it, and the truth of that which I had been longing for, looking for since I was very little. And I knew that in dedication to, in service to, in devotion to. So for me, I knew this vessel is to be utilized for a greater purpose in its interaction, in its creation energy, as well as in its particular sexual energy. So of course, being able to have this communication where, and I knew this was coming, the person, I took a year off after the separation from my spouse, and really went into celibacy, and just to hone this energy, what is all being shown to me, and also the excitement. And I did meet a very significant person, and I was with him for 9 months, and I couldn't be more grateful to all that we experienced. But it was just not aligned, because he couldn't hold the vibration, and he couldn't honor the divine presence in him. And that was really the hardest thing for me, because this service to humanity, to Gaia, could not have been fulfilled without the divine. So why I'm sharing this with you, because when we came together, it was very clear up front, like, I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm not looking for you to get in my pants. I'm not looking for you to be another delicious guy trying to hit on me and find, like, doing planetary work, traveling from place to place. It's like this gigantic, like, Indiana Jones type of lifestyle, from here to there, to portals, to this and that. I was not interested in that. For me, it was very real and of service. And when we met, it was very interesting, that part of you that also recognized it, and also the journey in which you had to take to align with it, so that we can synchronize together. And I'm sharing this with you all, because that's, and I want Michael to address it as I'll discuss, and the insane experiences between our fields, just the proximity with each other, and the presences between portals and gateways, and like Saint Germain and pyramids appearing. I mean, so many experiences me and him have, and I really wanted to take this opportunity to speak to this, the gift of it, the beauty of it, the essence of it. And I'm going to open this up, Michael, to you, because when we first met, you saw how serious I was. I wasn't messing around at all.
Right. It was powerful. I mean, I feel that, when I met you, it was a very pivotal stand in my life, because I knew that since I've been a child, it has always been a dream, as what I saw from my family and my mother and father, to be in a sacred union. When I say sacred union, I really, really chose through my life not to just settle down, not just to have a relationship. I was really taking the time, and maybe, as some people say, taking too much time, because I was really honoring who I am, honoring the love for who I am, taking the time even before meeting you of 5 years of just really sitting within and honoring the love within myself, the honor within myself, the value within myself, so I could be ready for the one. Because when I was younger, I always envisioned not just a normal relationship, but I envisioned of one that would be of love that was beyond what love really was. And when I say love beyond love, what really was is because I will admit, growing up, I was lost in the fairy tales. I was lost in the happy ending. I was lost in how much love there was. But as a child, I always envisioned, I can't wait to be in a place where it's even beyond that. And when I say beyond that, a feeling that was so rich, so connected in the service, because there was no accident when I look at my family and how they brought me up, how they really allowed this foundation of principle to not only serve, but to respect, to honor, and to bring forth what I felt the mission was, is to love not only my partner, not more myself, but love the divine in the highest way possible. And I feel, and I find that that love was given through the demonstration of a family that provided so much with their children. Wherever they went, they would show this love, teach the love, and share it in a way of knowing that we're not just here to be this, we're here to serve, we're here to honor. And watching that growing up, watching two parents as healers really create this foundation of it, and really give the importance of this planet and this universe and all that is being part of it as the fundamental path that I feel has been given to me growing up. And obviously, as growing up, placing myself first in the education and the travels, and really placing myself in a way where I asked myself, I would love to be fully developed and fully honored and fully in the place to meet my divine partner. And funny enough, when I did meet you, I thought I was there, but yet I had to go through, the dark night of the soul, and to really, tearing that ego apart and moving through what I find was the biggest transformation of my life, of that independent state of where I was in Mexico, coming back to America and really seeing who I was and what I am. And through all these years of preparation, I feel it's been given the honor, given the gift of what was seeded. And now with the passion to serve, because even when I always, told my mom, when growing up, I was like, I always just love to be with my partner, but not just be in a normal relationship. I always looked around and I always asked my family, well, what's this like? People go to work. One person goes to work, another person goes to work, and they come back and they spend a couple hours at night, and they go back. I'm like, it'd be such a dream to share a special love that would have that ability to not only be together, but to serve together and serve it for the highest good of all. And so I felt that was my calling, to keep building and keep growing and keep honoring it. And even when I came back from Bali, and before I met you, to sit literally in my backyard in a tent each day, meditating, doing shamanic journeys, and honoring myself of calling in, okay, I feel it now. This is the time, because each piece was building me up, building me up to where I am now. And still, when I met you, in that excitement and joy, and then honoring, obviously, when we do meet our divine partners, of how much that opens up to a whole nother way of the teachings that we can't see within ourselves, no matter how much we focus on our own self-love, no matter how much we're training to release all of our old patterns, our own guilt, our shames. There's nothing like that until you're actually encountered with that opportunity to then come together, and then you see the realness of it all. So I feel very blessed that in some sort, I feel my soul was incarnated in a position to grow and to build and to put me into the position. It may have not been to the extreme of obviously crossing, leaving my body, coming out and coming back. I felt like it was more of a gradual process, and going through the years and just marinating it. And as that marination became obviously into my fourth decade of life, of all of the foundation that was given to me, it has brought my biggest gift to life, you, in the way that we can now share, serve, love, and what I always dreamed of, is living in a higher purpose of life, living in a way that when I grew up, I just didn't quite understand what everyone else was doing because it just didn't fit the way that I wanted to live, the way that I wanted to be of service, and really to live a sacred, special life that would fully be committed to earth, to spirit, and to helping others.
Yeah, so thank you, Michael, for sharing, and thank you again, all of you that are watching this. It's very interesting because when we came together, it had been a few years. I was doing my own inner work in preparation of my vessel, particularly my vessel, into the alignment of the frequency for this vision that was given to me that will be coming. And it was so interesting, even though I met individuals that were sort of like had the potential, or it was like as if how we go through the checklist, but it wasn't quite yet aligned because the service of it was so important. And I remember like the amount of preparation that went into, a particular ceremonial way of preparing the vessel in the coming of this union. And I feel, and the ability to be able to say no to many so I can say yes when the alignment takes place. And I feel that was something where you and I, although you were in other relations like I was, but recognizing not quite aligned and what have you till we came together. And also that in itself brings its own window where a lot of information is shared. And so I'm going to take this further, because as a sacred divine union, for me, this was very real. And although I had people around me that would say, my God, this vision, like you keep saying no to everything, you're going to be alone, you're going to be totally alone. But there was no doubt in me whatsoever that this is what was given to me. I'm going to be devoted to it. I'm not going to, it wasn't I wasn't going to give it up or anything like that. One of the biggest things that had to take place with me, I had to come to my own divinity in the surrender part of it. And I remember person before Michael, it was this temporary state that he had come, and he was an amazing person that came into my life, but he couldn't quite hold the vibration, the frequency of divine in service to. There was a lot of potential there. And I remember after that genuine conversation, we can't be together, I left for Europe, and I took a week and I said, I'm not going anywhere until I tackle this. Where is it in me that is not aligned, in which that which is coming into my field is not aligned? I'm going to dive in so deep in this place, and I'm going to go ahead and clear this in me, because there's somewhere in me that is blocking the arrival of this vision. And I don't want to be upset of these ones coming that are not aligned. It's not about them. They're showing me what's not aligned inside of me. So I really took that week and I went so deep and so deep and so deep until I was able to, and I have a bit of a stubborn nature, so which was perfect, because I sat in that place within myself. I was like, I'm not going anywhere. And I remember, Michael, I said, that's where I cried my heart out. And my girlfriend just was there for me. She held this space for a week, and I cried so much. I was like, all right, me and me are not going anywhere until we come to this full awareness, the light comes into it. And I was able to finally recognize that I was very angry at the masculine God representation within me. I was cool. I was fully aligned with the sacred divine feminine aspect of myself, but I had really closed myself to the sacred divine masculine, because I had a lot of anger towards the sacred divine masculine, but more not sacred divine masculine, the masculine God representation, because in my life it had that energy represented in the male form had created harm and hurt to me from my childhood on, and that vibration was still very active inside. So that had to really clear, and I had to invite the energy of that inside of me and recognized how much I had closed. So as a result, these ones that were coming, I had to open up to it, and I had to finally allow myself to love that part of me, inviting the divine masculine quality in me, and then merge the sacred divine feminine masculine in me. And it was 2 months later that I met you. And it was so interesting because within that, I was completely fine in that emergence of my own sacred marriage, and that I don't need another on the outside. And it was truly a surrendered place. And I'm speaking to this because often when we're looking at a sacred divine union, there's this faulty idea, oh, he's going to make me whole, she's going to make me whole, our chakras are going to meet. Yes, there is that, but there's no wholeness, because the wholeness has to be with you. And remember when we met, Michael, there was this emphasis like, Michael, you're a whole, I'm a whole, we're coming together. I am not here to make you whole. You're not here to make me whole. It doesn't work. We can't serve. And there's this sacred flame that is granted, gifted to us, in which everything in its existence is from here for us to serve. So we have to be the gatekeeper of it. And over the last 2 years, we've had a lot of challenge, to honor this sacred flame as well, so that there's a consciousness fully is recognized what it takes, the responsibility, the devotion, the commitment to being the gatekeeper of this flame, so that our wholeness is intact with the divine essence. And that way we just share this frequency with each other. For me, this was a very clear vision that Yeshua and Mary Magdalene had given me. And this is how this frequency works. And when you come together, especially in your sacred union, in the union of sharing your sexual energy, it is so much more than just this physical expression of the orgasms and what have you. There's so much more. It's like the entire cosmos, the entire universal field receives the blessings of this. So it really required to be with somebody who can honor this frequency and be in its presence of it.
Exactly. And what was so beautiful, and thank you for sharing that was amazing how
that was a total truth for me.
And I'm glad.
And the challenges that you had to be aligned with that
to shift and to go into that. And I feel that what was inspiring about last night that we can move into about this sacred sexuality is what I feel so blessed and what I find so amazed in what was shared last night is how we could relate in areas that I feel that I'm speaking to a lot of men out there as well, to women, is to know that there's so much beyond than just the physical sexuality, so much more beyond the orgasm, so much more beyond. And even though my mental masculinity came from that place and was trained and programmed in that, the moments of where our ability to connect, whether it was, I remember in Los Angeles, just petting your hair and just like
you're touching my third eye.
I was touching your third eye and just caressing like a cat, caressing,
just like
kissing,
this,
and remembering of how
I was transported. I couldn't even function.
We called it Tom Yum Cum. What was it like?
Tom Yum, like a comatose. Like
Tom Yum Sum. Like we called it like a soup. I think it was like this soup of like, we were just in this phase where all of a sudden your body relaxed, but it relaxed so much that it brought on this just field of
it's
energy.
like I was liquid. I couldn't. My muscles couldn't even function. How I moved into that frequency of love that I'd never experienced before. And just by you touching my third eye like that, you just hit my third eye, and like just a very nothing else. We're totally clothed, and you're just hitting my third eye, And that's not even anywhere near all the pyramid experiences we've had.
And so what's
this is early on.
So what's fascinating and what's inspiring is really to see and feel that there are so many aspects of in sacred love to expand and to bring forth, not just by the penetration and union, but by the ability to experience sensuality, energetic connections, by intuitively feeling, if it's holding each other's hands, if it's just a massage on the shoulder, if it's something that can just be expressed in a way where there's comfort, there's safety, there's ability where someone feels supported, someone feels loved. And I know in an open way, as you expressed, like you and like many people and like many women, they've been hurt.
Yeah.
They've been abused. They've been placed in a position where they just did not feel completely nourished within themselves or with anyone else.
Or it was always like just the sexual energy had to come front, but not the sacredness of it. And, I feel like, and that early on particularly, like it was so interesting, just the frequency between us, as just as we began, just a simple that we experienced so much. And I never forget in Mexico when we left after 2 weeks, we went on travel. When there was that night where again we're clothed, we're sharing a bed, and I believe you had put your hand on my stomach or something like that. And I remember I went into sound vibration and I saw the 3 pyramids above, and these pyramids were the information that we needed for the planetary work. The place we were positioned in Tulum, but the Ascension team had shifted things. Now we had to go to a 5-hour drive to a complete different direction to hear the message from the Arcturian. Like it was crazy, but just the vibration was so subtle, and the engagement of that subtle energy between us, which is so orgasmic, so cosmic, so universal, so celestial, so galactic, yet it's experienced viscerally, but it wasn't, it wasn't like the requiredness of you going into a physical orgasm or any kind of penetration.
And to me, that's the exciting part, because I feel that there's so much to expand beyond this physical body and in the sacred nature of, imagine how limited that old paradigm is in what the mental body or the emotional body or physical body could feel in one action, when all of a sudden, on a multi-dimensional perspective of what can be now expressed and what can be now brought forward in the intuitive nature of fully honoring every aspect of that sacred nature within. When I say every aspect, our bodies are so filled with such sensuality on so many planes, and that ability to experience so much more in just one limited perspective is quite exhilarating, extraordinary, just to feel the sweetness, the softness, the lightness, the moments of, where we were in Crete and you were just lying there listening to my heartbeat.
Yeah, I remember that.
And you were listening to my heartbeat, like, you hear that song?
The song, I remember that song.
I hear this song. I'm like, what song? And it was just funny because it was just endearing, and just to feel the love of someone listening to your heartbeat, someone listening to a song, and someone just really feeling the energy or just the warmth of just sharing energy by just feeling the softness of the head against your shoulder, feeling the energy of a hand placed on the back. So many infinite ways of how those energy fields can be opened, how there can be an exchange, and how that can open up even more just by the ability to be in that present moment and to honor one another and to feel one another.
And I'm glad you're sharing this, Michael. Hello, Darius. Thank you for joining. The what is so important that I really want to bring out is that I remember when I met Michael, I said, Michael, I do not care about the regular human three-dimensional sexual experience. It really does not have that much meaning to me. And I feel like once we've interacted interdimensionally or multidimensionally, and there's that higher higher self, the oversoul, is engaged within this sacred energy, it's tapped into the sacred divine sexuality. It is a whole ball game of change. Though we love our also physical and intimacy, physical sexual energy, but I feel like it's at a whole different. It's nothing like I've ever experienced. I don't know about you. Nothing like you
nothing like I've ever experienced, because I feel when our souls came together, what I find within divine couples that we're seeing and learning is there is this really deep connection that we've known each other from before.
Yeah, it was the foundation
we
of
felt
it.
something even when we first met. And I remember there was that moment of you were just holding my hand. And I still remember from this day, you were just holding my hand and you were just caressing the fingertips and just being held there. There was just this energy that was like the snow falling off the house right now. This energy that was just starting to move through my hands, and it started to electrify my heart, because just that moment of you holding, caressing, and feeling this deep connection, I was like, wow, it filled my body with so much love, with so much goosebumps that I could have been in that car, all night and just listening to you, hearing you, and feeling it. And in that connection, it was like, wow, how interesting that we're activating each other just in our own presence, in our own love, and to not even think beyond in our own activation of love, of what is now more to create and to share, and most important, to educate to others the sacred nature that brings forth that connection.
Yeah, and only again, and coming from a place that which resonates to us, that which brings truth to us. Like, we can only share what we've directly experienced, and if it resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, great. And for us, there is a consciousness that was asked of me when you come to this space of shared sacred union. You're to bring the education forward, and the education of it is the presence of divinity. But Michael and I could not experience what we are experiencing if we were not first devoted and committed, and literally committed to our own divinity. And I feel that's that discipline in our everyday. And Michael had to join this, because I've been very, very, those of you that know me, you know how disciplined I am about my morning practice. Like, I can't start anything, eat anything, nothing until I'm aligning with that and going into that space, that frequency, the meditation, the prayer. So I am meeting with my ascension team and aligning it, and I'm just out of love, not because anybody is forcing me to do it, not because I'm following any institution, any guru, any religion, any of that. Out of love and respect for the amount of beings that are here to help support this great divine mission, sitting in that space, and the love of God in me pulsing in connection to them. And then from there, Michael and I start our day. Michael and I then share our energy of the day, whether we're eating, whether we're serving, we're doing healing session, we have an event, or we're simply playing or doing silly things too. And just that is so incorporated in, we can share the presence. And that's why, for me being very sensitive, I can see the frequency field between us, and I can catch it with Michael too. The second something is off, catch it, or the second something is off, it we catch it, because the whole geometric pattern around this flame between us shifts, and then we can also easily see how we're impacted by it very quickly. And I feel it's that responsibility, and also recognizing how beautiful this sacred energy, sacred sexuality is. And we've had experience where literally the flame of Saint Germain has come through, and we both were checked out. We don't know what happened. We went somewhere. We have no idea what happened, and then we returned back to our body, and clearly seeing many different beings presences come through in spoken language around us while we're in this space of sharing. So we recognize how pure it has to be.
And how there's been pyramids and how there's been messages and energies. And I find it's very powerful in just our own union, but still the power of what it is to hold that sweet softness of intimacy without that sexual intercourse. Mm-hmm. And that to me is what's so fascinating, because of the ability.
Yeah, that was interesting for you to see it's possible.
To see the fascinating ability, because one thing that I find with a lot of souls is when they can really feel their sensitivity.
Yeah.
And they can feel the sensitivity of each energetic connection within them, and to really feel that and be that and allow that to really come forth in a very smooth and natural process. Yeah. And as we first met, and us being very sensitive people, we were still very honorary of our friendship, and we were very honorary of how we even chose to sleep on two sides of the beds and still share the bed, but still have the ability to honor our sacred sexuality. And I find that the one thing that, again, from last night that I pulled from Morgan and Todd is that ability to share with people of just what lies so much more.
Yeah. Beyond the three chakras,
the lower three chakras. How much more of a connection there is when we are aligned with the divine
within first,
within ourselves. And I understand there are many people that are on this path, and I hold a lot of sensitivity to where they may not be with their partner right now. They may not feel that divine energetic connection,
or even they're called to be with one, and that's also honoring that everybody's honored. Right. We're only speaking of that which rings truth to us, that there is a union with one person coming together of predominantly service. It's a service of the divine mission. Mm-hmm. That which you're referring to those that have had the calling and they know it with every part of their being.
Right. And I feel part of it, those that are even still looking for it, is that opportunity to love themselves as the divine loves them, to fully allow themselves to feel that appreciation and to share that, because we also know that there may be unions together where one person may be very wide open and the other person may not be able to feel it, if it's divine, if it's not divine, but to understand that we all have that capability.
But there's a fear too, like, for example, like, me experiencing so much in that place, like, you were open to it, you weren't scared of it, like
excited.
You were excited. You were excited, voices coming out of me, languages coming out, or like portals opening, or all these other things happening. Like for you, this was amazing. Whereas you can also understand for those that this is not called to them, right, because it makes them feel very uncomfortable in that space. Right. And that's okay. And I remember, for example, earlier on, I would have Michael like put his forehead here. And I was like, Michael, this is how I want to make love. Where our third eyes are making love to each other. We're in that place. He's like, oh my God, whoa, what is that? Because I could see the energy field, mingling together, rising together, and the entire frequency fields in our diamonds and different bodies are expanding. Like those are the things that excite me, accessing my heart dimensional aspect of self, being able to interact in the true sacred sexuality, which is just so much more than the lower three chakras. Right. Really bringing the higher 5 chakras in, right, and interact on those planes with each other. And I feel like once we've had those tastes, like it is like, I feel like one of the most important things is when I got to hear the symphony music, like of the cosmos while we're interacting in this place. Or like, for example, when I had my ear placed on Michael's heart, and I could just hear the angelic realm like just singing, and it's like, I mean, in tears and tears and tears, we were like, wow, look at what awaits humanity.
And how powerful
How
that
powerful
is.
that
How
is.
powerful that is to feel beyond just the physical sexuality, but to feel even in the first time that I spent the night with you, and you woke up and you saw me crying. You're like, what are you crying? And I was like, I got a little overclumped because I was just holding, and I was like, just to hold you and just to feel that connection.
We had no kiss, nothing. We just
we were just friends. Tears. We were just friends holding each other, and to hold that energy, and to embrace that, and to feel what was coming through, and how that was just building and expanding, and feeling that could not ever be as close to an orgasm, because that energetic connection, the love for it was not just a short temporary moment. It was something that was expanding. And I find that even recently, when we were in Miami on a 1221 gateway, and we were on the beach, and we both went into the gateway, and afterwards, like, how you're doing? And I just sat there, my hands over my heart. I'm like, wow, I'm just sitting next to you, and I'm sitting here, and I am feeling so loved, feeling so empowered, and just this ability, like there is nothing at all that could possibly pull me out of this, I would have to say, this physical, mental, emotional, like loving. It's hard to even describe in the words, but this energetic swirling of everything was just like, and that was just in the presence of a moment that we got to share in an energetic gateway, and to hold each other afterwards, and to feel that. It's like, wow, how enriching it is. And now to share that to others, and to build off that excitement, to build and to share to others that are searching for more than just what sexuality is, but to expand this sacred, ceremonial, and ways that we know from our higher self that are being brought forward in the ancient wisdoms that are already within us. Now it's bringing it forth, as we know, as Todd and Morgan said, we're just, bringing this forward.
Sharing what is called based on what we're seeing, what works, and that's all. And also areas that frankly doesn't work, and being very open to that. And I also feel that the point of this, it was so funny. Todd kept saying to the men last night, cut your balls off. It was so precious. But like getting the point behind it, we don't need to cut our breasts off or anything like that. But the point behind it is like there's so much more. And I feel as we're coming to that place, the sexual energy, it was, Michael has heard me say this, they asked Mother Teresa, how does she do what she does? She helped so many. And she said, my sexual energy. And people are like, what? So she knew that intimate union with divine, how incredible it is, where the creator's force is able to be brought in that incredible energy, which is the higher intuition, which is the movement of all the fluids in the body. There's a circle of spinning energy when we connect with the entire cosmos. And when we align ourselves with that, things are constantly moving through us. And it is of service too. And I feel once we tap in, and once we taste the true richness of that divine essence within us, we'll see it's self-created. It never has to come from anybody on the outside. We do not need plastic dildos to create it, for God's sakes. We don't. You can use all the yoni eggs, it's beautiful, but the sexual energy has to be clean and pure. And those of us who have had, oh my God, it's like in my, I mean, really, no, beautiful, to each his own, but it's just not, as the frequency rises from the density to light, we interact differently. And there is a simplicity, sometimes just engaging in that eye, where the entire body is expanded to its fullness frequency field by that present, which is the witness that is being shared. And there's so much more to it.
And what I find that one of the most important things is, I feel in our society a lot of sexual energy is suppressed.
Yeah.
It's condemned. It's looked at in a way where it's not spoken about. And I find the freedom, even as we express it, some people may be like, whoa, this is too public, this is too much. But to honor that sexual energy actually is our creative energy. It's the power that we draw upon in that connection with the divine that freely allows us to open up so much more within our body. And to, when we draw the connections of when this is closed off, when our first chakra is closed off, when we're having financial and monetary lacking money issues, where's our sexual energy and the freedom of how much we're opening? Not
because
with
they're
others,
totally connected.
because they're totally connected. And when I say sexual energy, not with like going out, but like within our own awareness and well-being. And it's so,
but it's because it's not moving.
It's
blocked,
not moving.
It's blocked energy on the outside in all creative expression.
And as that energy is moving, how interesting in that intimacy, whether it's just two people breathing together, two people in a position where they're just allowing themselves to connect, so many infinite ways of that connection to open up, to spiral that energy, and to allow what I find the natural liberation of that to rise. Because I find in some of our most powerful moments is feeling this spiraling, spinning energy. And as a spiraling, spinning energy, it's like almost like it's coming through us, it's coming up, it's coming outward, and it's almost like this fountain. And as this fountain comes outward, it feels like an out-of-body experience. It feels like we're actually moving upward and outwards.
Rebirth. And I feel with us is the removal of all the labels that from Tantra to Kundalini to what I can't resonate with any of those terminologies, because I feel it completely condenses the frequency of its purity and its divinity. It's just the true beauty, because it's been so the human conditioning has brought it to a place that has not fully been able to embrace it. And I feel once we're in the experience of it, once we're in the experience of its movement, and as it's ascending up and then descending that, and we're in the spiraling energy of its movement, constant movement, and we're seeing like we've been rebirthed from inside out and from outside in. It's so incredible. And coming back to this, on Wednesdays, when Michael and I sit together, we get to go into meditation together. And it's been so beautiful to see the field between Michael and I, and seeing it like the crystal beings, the lights, the gold frequency, all the spinning energy, and just being able to nourish this part of ourselves, which we find is very important. And because we find it needs its own devotion, its own truly commitment, so that we can honor it. So like today is a day of it. That's why we felt inspired to share it with you, because there's a lot of times people want to be in a sacred relationship, but first they have not yet come to their own sacred alignment. They want to share sacred sexuality, but they're still functioning from the basic sexuality of the human conditioning and the programming and literally the 3D.
It's the old paradigm.
The old
of
paradigm.
what we've been programmed and conditioned to feel a certain objective, or to be attached to a certain element, if it's orgasm, or an outcome or something, and to let that go, and to realize there is much more, and to be open, and to be free, and to feel safe, and to feel comfortable.
Safety and comfort is very important, Michael.
Right.
I mean, this is so important. I feel like I can only speak to this from my part. In order for me to fully allow this space, whatever it is, whether we're clothed or unclothed, whether we're in penetration or not in penetration, whether we're just in this space, feeling safe. And that safe, you cannot create it for me. You have a part in it, but that safety is again my own alignment with divine. And when I'm allowed that space, when my expression is able to come forward and you're contributing in honoring in the beauty of that safety, then as you move yourself into it, as you have seen, you too expand to what you've never experienced before. It's like we constantly expanding together, as I am also holding the container for you feel safe, you feel valid, you feel amazing, nourished. Like the other night, I had Michael. I was like, Michael, dance for me. He's like, what? I put some music. He felt a little shy. I was like, no, feel it. Just feel the feminine in you and dance. And I was like, let your hair out. And it was so. And Michael was like, I could feel he was uncomfortable, right? You were uncomfortable at first.
I don't think I've ever danced like that before.
Yeah. And I said, Michael, start breathing into this place and dance and dance. So I got to just watch him dance and allowing that place come in him. And it was so beautiful. And from that, we put candles and breathing in that place. And Michael just went into this frequency of movement. And in bed, we just moved and moved and moved and moved and moved. And it was so beautiful.
It's like
so
animals.
wonderful.
It's like animals just kind of like in this
like we feel like we're like jaguars or panthers and just playing and moving and just breathing this frequency of just plain beingness with no agenda, no plan, nowhere to go other than just embracing what was before us in allowing. You felt safe that you could allow yourself. And I feel as the masculine allows his divine feminine to come in, you experience something that's so much bigger than you.
You get I feel like I get to experience the trueness of our own expression, and I feel sometimes
your expression
of my own expression, because many times we're not aware of what is being expressed within ourselves because of the limitations of the mind. But yet when there's that freedom of expression, freedom of movement, freedom of the ability just to be open and raw without being afraid that, am I doing this right from the mind? Is there something that I should be doing from the mind? Yet just feeling that ultimate expression. And I find that's one of the biggest gifts of this sacred, sensual sexuality, is to really feel that unique expression within ourselves.
And you yourself not judge it.
Not judge it. And then allow the other person to feel that expression, and as little to big, as small as to large, and to really just embrace that and marinate that and see how much bigger that is than what we've seen in the old paradigm of sexuality. And to, when people feel comfortable, to share that ability.
To also share the uncomfortable position. So I have to share this with you. So in the beginning, one of the things that happens to me, like if there is the touch of the person is sensitive enough, I start going into convulsions and transmissions. And of course, early on, I was like, oh my God, like, how am I going to let Michael know? Like, might be uncomfortable because suddenly like voices are going to come out of me while like, if he's touching me, like, and and I feel those of us women, some of you might relate, that we're very vibration sensitive. We open up so much and we're having, again, interdimensional experiences. So that can feel very uncomfortable if you don't feel safe enough. And I remember I was like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't touch him because I don't want him to experience that. And there was that pressure, feeling a little bit uncomfortable, and that pressure, how am I going to express it? Because, through the Magdalene, I work with the Magdalene frequency. Magdalene frequency is the expression, is the voice, is the sound. So of course, with this, there's a lot of sound coming up. So like, imagine if Michael is touching, let's say, my neck, and in a very beautiful, soft, beautiful way, like I can't help myself that my body would go into tremors and expressions. My eyes start like going out, and then voices would start coming and sound. So of course, you could imagine how, if I didn't feel comfortable in my own alignment, I would retract that, because then that would create so much pressure in me. Whereas, through the safety of this, opening that space up and seeing the sound vibration and what it does when the sound comes out of me, goes out of my crown and goes all the way to my universal and also galactic chakra, and just what happens in the frequency field, all around. Like, how can I deny that part of me? And just because somebody may not be ready to handle it, maybe it's not for them, but that who's ready, the person within that field also opens up to that transmission, because it is a transmission. And I feel this was very important in communication and in a sacred divine union. It is so necessary for this to be constantly open and express itself. So the frequency is constantly coming from the divine mother, divine Virgo, divine Tierra, divine Gaia, divine Mother Earth underneath. It's coming all the way up through our chakras, passing, and this fire of the solar plexus is giving rise to it. So the air fills up in here and it has to be expressed, because it can't just be coming from top down without the body engaged. It's very important the physical body is engaged, but the physical body is engaged in a very different mechanical way. Literally, it's because often in the third dimensional reality or paradigm, the physical body is in the front, whereas in a sacred divine union or sacred divine body, as we experience it, is all of our bodies are brought into the physical. So the physical becomes the highest temple of its expression.
And with all bodies being, and it was very beautifully expressed, with all bodies being brought in, imagine all the experiences that are emanated outwardly, because then it brings out not just a limited perspective from the body's point, but from the very expansive point. So, so we thank you guys for listening and for being open to hear the rawness of this, because this is not really broadcast so much in our mainstream education where people like to share, because to some people this can sound too personal. To some people it may make people feel uncomfortable,
or it might not be. It might be like, for good, that's not for me at all, or I rather use my energy with everybody, and that's totally cool too if that feels called to you. For us, if you feel like if there is a sacred divine relationship that you're called to, what you're being called to really is to align with the sacred divine union within yourself first. Handle that frequency and come into its sacred marriage. And then the expression in form on the outside will be presented, so that when it comes, even within that, you're going to face all kinds of things, because this frequency is so powerful. All kinds of debris still has to clear, just like a spinning tornado out of it, or like a volcano coming out, because there's a massive purging that goes through it. So it requires so much communication, not just on the verbal level, but on the emotional level, on the mental level, on the etheric, on the spiritual level. The level of communication has to be so open, so fluid. And the second any of the bodies is slightly off, there's instant information, instant communication. So then it requires it to again be clear, because divine is housing this space with its flame, and this flame is such an expanded loving flame that is just designed to give. It's designed to give and express its love. So it's not one part of it we benefit, the other part of it is to serve from it. And again, to serve from it, because it is for purpose. It's not just for us to hide in our apartment, have all of this. It's for us to go out there and emanate this pulsing, bright, dazzling ray of light in its profound diamond, because we have to be clear in that and share it. And again, it is so that the light is brought into the darkness, and this field is in its sexual energy is very important, and not just the physical, but sexual energy in all the bodies is very, very important. So we just felt to share this because it was so beautiful, and particularly our Wednesday today. Michael, if you want to just briefly share like what we did this morning and what we do on Wednesdays.
Yeah, I mean, I feel it's very powerful on our Wednesdays of really to honor our sacred love together.
Yeah.
And as we honor our sacred love together, we really come into a place to really feel the flame, that flame within us, and to allow what comes through in the meditation to really fill. It's like it's our medicine in the morning. Beyond prayer, it's the medicine that connects us.
So we sit right here. This is by the way our bedroom. So this is our personal, our co-created altar together. Michael,
right.
if you want to, so this altar, if you want to speak to the altar for a second, because what is the vibrations important behind it?
So we've set this beautiful altar up, and when we do this, we try to do it through seasons and through each powerful time of the year, really honoring all the deities, all the energies, all the elements, all the angels, because this really is the foundation, the portal that represents.
For us, this is a living portal, and we feed into it. So that's why we meet here, sit in front of each other, go into meditation. So we keep feeding this. And over there is our higher vision, the big vision that's been given to us that we did for our New Year's Day event, so that we get to see it, feel it, and feed into it. And so we're sharing this with you from our private altar, which carries a vibration to hold the supportive energy when we go into meditation. Like, so today we did a few different experiences.
Right. And it was great when not only to feel the meditation, but also what I thought today was great is when to feel the image of the meditation, what is brought forward, and then even to use that as a practical exercise, like to like envision like, you know, the white coat that was placed over us. And just
so like, so Michael and I, we sit right in front of each other, and today we held crystals in our hand, and we both held double terminator quartz crystal in our hand. And so we went into, again, we don't discuss anything. We don't say to each other what to envision, nothing. We just go into it, and then we share it afterwards. So we have recordings of 2 years worth of meditation that we've gone into the same space to see. And it's interesting enough, we see a lot of the same things while we enter this space. So today, we sat in front of each other, and we both had a lot of experiences as usual. And but one of them was this golden mother serpent that was shown around us, expanding, going out into the universe. And it's so beautiful when we get to share that with each other. It's time to get tired.
Yeah, my eyes are fading.
And then also going into some visualization experience, so we can feed the other part of ourselves, which I feel is equally so important. Point being, point being not just feeding our physical body with its sexual energy, feeding our emotional body its sexual energy, feeding our mental body its sexual energy, feeding our etheric body its sexual energy, and our spiritual body its sexual energy, and just honoring it completely as one vessel we are. So it's not limited to just one, and it's the very, very, how do I want to say? It's so limited. Like the ordinary sex is just so limited.
Just in a very expansive way where it can be brought forth.
Where the divine can come between us. Right. The divine is experienced between us. We can just experience the tears between each other. And just as simple as a sound vibration that we get to share, and we hear that sacred tone with one another, and that ecstatic experience that lasts for so long, right? So anyway, just wanted to see if anybody had any questions for us before we wrap up. Hello, Erin. Hello, Fred. Thank you for joining us. Let me see. Hello, Mary. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Hello, Claudia. Thank you so much. I can't quite scroll this down well enough to see if, hello Darius, hello Demarius, thank you so much, hello Dana. Thank you so much for joining us for this. We just really felt inspired to be with you and just share this part, because I feel the more we share it, the more we are opening the space of truth for us, for ourselves and others. And we're very grateful, again, so grateful to the rawness of Todd and Morgan last night. And we feel very honored that we've had the honor of being on the show together with them. And also us speaking of our sacred union in the past several times, and also on their show, and just in support of that and how important it is. Again, we don't have all the answers. We only can speak from the direct experience that we have had. That's all we have, what's in front of, and also what the vision is. And the rest we don't necessarily contain right now, because as we allow it, more and more and more unfolds. And we know that in this beautiful alignment, everything is encoded in it. All the codes on here are here. Everything that we're looking for is also provided from here. So we don't have to work for it. It's already handed and given. The only responsibility we have, what would you say, Michael?
My responsibility is to be that love, to express that love, to allow that love to flow in every way possible.
So, like, if somebody was to ask us, Michael, what is your responsibility to in a sacred divine union? What would you say to that? What like, how do you see you're responsible?
I feel the responsibility.
I mean, your part. What's your part?
My part is to hold the highest level of vibration, a love for myself and a love for God, and to emit that in every action, every thought, every emotion, so that I can be fully available, fully open, and allow that to radiate. As I love you, I love myself. As I support you, I support myself. It's a complete honoring within each individual as equally as important with the divine. So I find it's a three-way flame. It's the love and the importance, and that's one thing that I feel is missing in a lot of energies when it reflected is the importance of that love from within. That love from within, the love within the individual, and the love within divine all
connected. Okay, thank you. Hi, Morgan. So much of you were such an inspiration, you and Todd, last night. So we had a full hour of discussing this around, and we're just so grateful for that which you boldly brought forth, because it was very necessary, and we felt guided to share our part into it. So we're very thankful. And I also feel the same, Michael. I feel like my part of the responsibility of this sacred divine union that we are sharing and we are of service to is my complete alignment to the divine source light within me. And it's from there in which I can extend it outward and also nourish the sacred flame. If I'm not doing my part, I will not be able to be of service to our sacred flame, and certainly won't be able to be of service to you from that place, so that we can serve the greater picture out of this. So that's how I feel about it. And so that's why it becomes every day a devotion, and also catching my own bullshit. Just like you yourself, catching it and adjusting it, and also embracing the new, oh wow, and the further expansion each time we evolve further. Wow, let's incorporate these now too. It's like, doesn't it feel like there's this homecoming of all parts of ourselves, all lifetimes that we've shared, coming into this, like this now, so that all the goods that we have shared off planet, in stars, in the suns, in different galaxies, like we can fully deliver it in the most harmonious, loving, flowing way. Yeah, feels that way. So Anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time in being with us and just joining us on this Wednesday anniversary that we share every Wednesday. And this is a day that is dedicated to us. That's why we don't have clients. We have none of that, because we get to play, we get to sit in that space, we get to really embrace many different facets and aspects of our sacred divine union, sacred sexuality, and questioning and checking in, and whatever needs to be tossed out can be tossed out, whatever needs to be brought in can be brought in, and just good evaluation and our meditation, what we're receiving, what's being said, what needs to really be adjusted. So it's constant everyday attunement. And we value Wednesday, and that's what we want to share from this place, how much we're in devotion to the divine love, which we feel is a very different frequency than just a regular relationship.
Thank you guys for joining us today. Thank you for honoring all that's been said, and we're very grateful for this moment. Thank you.
And we look forward to addressing any question you may have, or any clarity you may have, or any other comment you'd like to share. We also videoed this on our YouTube page too. That should be finished. And we just, there's no agenda in this other than sharing, because we feel when we share our naked truth, it inspires others. And also for us, it's very important this to be a field of openness where we can just completely be and allow that frequency to do its thing through us. And so if it serves you, feel free to share it. And if it doesn't, feel free to toss it out. We're not here to convince anything other than just honor and respect that which we share, which we are really in great gratitude to, and the fuel, yeah. So I love you all so much. Have the most magical day. Please note, this Friday we're not going to be on our Friday Tea Time Ascension talk. We'll return back the following Friday, and we'll see those of you who are coming on our Channeling the Masters event on Sunday. So much love. Namaste, En Lakesh, Banura Ish, House, and have the most magnificent day. And please watch Todd and Morgan's live stream last night. It was so, just
Very
so
powerful.
beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Love you all. Bye bye.